So earlier today, President Trump welcomed the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House. Now, President Trump has vowed now to restore relations with Israel. And here are some highlights from today's historic press conference. Take a look.
Bibi and I have known each other a long time. A smart man, great negotiator. And I think we're going to make a deal. So let's see what we do.
Let's try it.
Doesn't sound too optimistic, but that's... He's a good negotiator.
That's the art of the deal. Under your leadership, I believe we can reverse the rising tide of radical Islam. And in this great task, as in so many others, Israel stands with you, and I stand with you. There is no greater supporter of the Jewish people and the Jewish state than President Donald Trump. I think we should put that to rest.
Here now with reaction, former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer, former advisor to UK Prime Minister David Cameron. Fox News contributor Steve Hilton is back with us. Ari, let me start here because you could see the friendliness, the relationship that goes back so far, dramatic shift from the last 8 years, certainly. And also they both are very strong in their criticism of radical Islam. Here's what stood out to me. Donald Trump talked, well, one state, two-state solution. Then he went on to say we can do something much bigger, much better. And then I put that together with what the Prime Minister said. You know, for the first time in his life, Arab countries in the region do not see Israel increasingly as anything other than an ally, and that this is a historic opportunity. Here's my interpretation of that. Based on the comments of the Egyptian president, General al-Sisi, and the Jordanians, and a new emerging relationship with Saudi Arabia, if you add in the Brits, could there be a coalition to stop Iranian hegemony in the region and the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran? Is this what's happening? Is that what they're both indicating?
You just nailed it. That's exactly right, and that's profound. And, you know, Sean, in a week in which everybody in Washington wants to talk about personnel, this is why there's no more important personnel than the president himself. And instead of having a policy, which we had for the last 8 years under President Obama, which was how do we make life better for Iran, we now have a policy of how do we make life better for America in the Middle East. And that means standing by our best ally, the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel. And recognizing the great strategic change underway in the Middle East is this realliance of Sunni Arabs, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE, along with Israel, against Iran. That's the profound difference, and it's a fundamental, wonderful change in the Middle East.
I agree, Steve, complete with Ari. What happened today was historic. It was deep. It was profound. And I do believe because Israel has created new alliances that had never existed before with the Saudis, Jordanians, Egyptians. If you add the U.S. to that equation and you add the UK to that equation, you now have a coalition to defeat what I think is evil in our time, the #1 state sponsor of terror that burns the Israeli flag, burns the U.S. flag, chants death to Israel, death to America, and that is the Iranian mullahs. Do you see it the same way?
I really do, Sean. I think it's so exciting. I think you're completely right. Ari's right. And one of the things that's so refreshing is not just the fact that you've got a president who is so clearly, strongly and warmly committed to Israel. It's that he's prepared to move beyond the failed approaches of the past and actually really shake things up. One of the things that I really hate about the way that the insiders and the experts all criticize Trump is that they say, well, he's not following protocol, he's not doing the usual diplomatic stuff, he's doing his own thing. That's exactly what we need, because the old way of doing things hasn't worked.
That's so deep.
And I think,
yeah, I agree. It's really profound. You know, one state, two state, or bigger and better, and an opportunity. And I think, Ari, look, you've been around a long time. I can't think of a better time than now to actually create a broad coalition that could really lead to a lasting peace in the Middle East. And, of course, that would also mean less U.S. involvement there that I know every American would prefer.
And it's a recognition that the Arab nations really don't have Palestinians as their first #1 issue the way the foreign policy establishment in Washington has thought they've had it for decades. They have their own survival as their #1 issue. And in that sense, they are working with Israel because they see the threat coming from Iran. And it's great if we can isolate Iran, diminish Iran, and hopefully empower the people of Iran, especially the young people of Iran, because you have the Shiite alliance involving Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah. You talk about the new axis of evil, those three, and we can now have a different coalition, but we're doing it because we're doing what's principally right for America, which is to stand with Israel, to stop this nonsense about we need daylight between us and Israel. No, we need to support our allies, and it's a welcome sign of change in Washington.
You know, before Donald Trump's appearance on the world stage, Steve, I would argue that the only world leader that had moral clarity and understood the real nature of the threat of radical Islam, he stood alone, was the prime minister. Now he has a staunch ally that agrees and supports everything he says. We may look back at this moment as the starting point, potentially for a longer and lasting peace, hopefully, in the Middle East. Thank you both. Quick programming.